Have you ever heard the sayings, from dust you are made, to the dust you will return? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You may have even heard that this is how Adam was created. Dust was gathered up and a life came from that. And then there's someone who wrote a song, we're just dust in the wind. All of these different beautiful hues represent the skin tones of the indigenous people of the earth. And that is what we're going to be exploring today. Wilfred, thank you for your many questions. And we are going to tackle every last one of these questions that you have. Let's get it. You first said that if Ethiopia means black and America was called Ethiopia, and also Kush also denoting black, when did it change to mean copper-colored people? Truly, it never changed to be copper-colored people. The majority of the inhabitants in the Americas, all the way from Greenland down to the bottom of South America, most of them were copper-colored people, unless otherwise denoted. When the colonizers came to the Americas, they gave everything a name, a title. And that's no different than the majority of the people that they saw when they came to the Americas to explore. Christopher Columbus and the rest of the European nations that came and conquered America. They called us the copper-colored people. That's who they said they saw when they first came. That's who they encountered. And they said a Negroid people who were copper-colored. And Rhino, I hope that you are listening right now, because we're going to get right into the East and West Indians. It does not say East and West Africans. It says Indians. They were called Indians, not Africans. What were the complexions of the majority of the people in the Americas? Well, it clearly states here most of them were copper colored. Yeah, they were every hue, but majority of the Indians were of copper colored complexions. It speaks of the copper colored skin of the inhabitants of America. Exceptions. We had the Seminoles, the Yamasee. They come from the Creek Indians, and they're considered to be dark complected. They're also said to be swarthy in complexion. They went as far as to say that they are blacker than most of the other Indian tribes. People of the Isthmus were a copper-colored and tawny skin complexion of people. And they mostly lived towards Peru, but it clearly states that they were up and down the Isthmus. Magellan's Strait, they were a pale yellow to copper-colored. But the majority of everyone else in South America, they were of swarthy complexion, very dark, swarthy. And the majority of those people are now in modern day West Africa. All right. The Lucayan people, which are the people in the Bahamas, it says that they are a dark-skinned people. The American Indians, brown, they were copper-colored. They were swarthy. Some were dark red. It was every complexion. Canada, copper-colored. The people of Mexico were copper-colored and swarthy, which is very dark. So the Carib, the Arawak, and are you listening, Rhino? Because these are your people that I'm talking about. They're, number one, they are Indians. Again, they are West Indians, and they are many different skin complexions. They're tawny, they're brown, and they're red, and they're also copper-colored in complexion. These countries here that you see on top, they were of a copper-colored and dark copper color in complexion. So to answer your question, not that it was changed from copper color to black. They were all so-called black people, but they were different hues because, of course, they came from different tribes as well. As you can see here, that the indigenous tribes just of North America alone, not even including South America, there were thousands in number. And then you went on to ask, how can you reclaim your American Egyptian black identity and history, as you should, as we all should, but then turn around and call Ethiopia Al-Kebilan, which is the native land of the Hebrews, the Israelites, the Bantu, the Egyptians. I realize that it is a bit confusing for some people, and they say, oh, you don't know who you are because you say that you're the Hebrews, you say that you're the Egyptians, you say that you're this, and you say that you're that. You have to understand that there were many different tribes in America. And just like in the United States of America, there are many different races of people that are calling themselves Americans, right? There are Caucasoids that call themselves Americans, Hispanics that call themselves Americans, so-called black people that call themselves Americans, right? So it's no different in Egypt. There were many different types of Hebrews because there were many different tribes that were living there, including the Hebrew Egyptians. You see that? Not to mention the fact that when they enslaved the people of the Americas, they actually moved them around. There was an emigration with an E. And they moved them from South America to North America to the Caribbean and in between. A lot of us are the same people and we mixed with each other. And then you asked, why would Egyptians enslave themselves? Let me ask you this. Why would Jesse Jackson help the U.S. Gov reclassify us as Africans in the 1980s and then turn around and reclassify himself as a Cherokee Indian? Does that answer your question? Not all skin folk are kinfolk. There are a lot of people who are us, who are actually against us, and they're working for the other side. And so they do things that are not in our best interest, unfortunately. I hope this answers your questions. Thank you for asking.